Welcome back, and as we said earlier, that one of our main topics today is the cornerstones of Egypt's foreign policy, and that is managing and solving conflicts and disputes to handle crises that threaten peace and security in Africa. Now we are joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great, sir. So, Ambassador Gamal, how did Egypt succeed in affirming its status as one of the most active parties in the efforts of preserving peace in the African continent?
Half an hour ago, I just finished my article for El Hilal about this same subject, about 4,000 years of Egyptian diplomacy.
Yes.
We are proud of our diplomacy. If you visit the palace in Tahrir Square of the Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you will find in the room of Dr. Boutros Ghali the oldest treaty in our history. It was 2,000 years before Christ between Egypt and the Houthis, when the Egyptian army headed by Ahmus went to Al-Ladiqiyya in Syria to liberalize it from the attack of the Houthis. And we have a long history of a very active diplomacy all over the world. But recently our generation lived with Gamal Abdel Nasser when he was calling for liberalization of the African continent, all the African countries, and he made a very good friendship relations with many of the leaders of Africa and Asia. Nehru in India, Mao Zedong in China, Jawaharlal Nehru also in India, and many counterparts in Africa. And he was the one behind the establishment of what we call now the African Union. And I tell you with all confidence and proud at the same time that Egypt and the Egyptians are the most accepted face in Africa.
Yes.
Because we have a very positive, long history with all the African countries. And I was several times in many countries in Africa, and I know how they look to us, how they treat us. There are long and traditional relations concerning the battle against occupation, concerning the development efforts, and also the problems between the tribes in the same country in Africa. Many countries are suffering from differences between different tribes. Because in Africa, if you ask somebody from which country you are, maybe he will mention the tribe, not the country. And this is Africa, and we have to make sure that we understand this. So anyway, Egypt has this long history with Africa since the Pharaonic time, since Muhammad Ali Pasha and the discoveries of the upper countries of the River Nile. Of course, the River Nile is our life, and it is the connection between Egypt and many African countries. That's why also this is one dimension of our relations with Africa. So yes. I am really happy with the very active role our president is doing now, and he has a very active Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Badr Abdel Ati. I am rarely try to follow him from 1 hour to another. He is everywhere and either talking to his counterparts or receiving his counterparts. And really, Egypt is benefiting from this as a very active country for the sake of peace and development in our world.
So, Ambassador Gamal, what about the significance of electing Egypt as member of the African Peace and Security Council for 3 times in 1 decade?
This is exactly one proof how Africa is looking to us. And I remember when we were on the point to establish the African Union, there was a sort of conflict between a couple of capitals to host the African Union. Then many African countries came to Gamal Abdel Nasser asking him that Cairo to host the African Union, and he refused. He wanted by that time that the African Union should be deep in Africa, in the South Africa, and he chose with the others, of course, Addis Ababa. So we are a fair partner, and as you rightly said, we were 3 times elected, we were 3 times representing Africa in the Security Council, and it's not only in politics, in football, we are very well known in Africa with our football team. Maybe we are not all of us satisfied with our football team, but in Africa it is a rising star all over the continent. So another dimension which we do not look at it carefully, which is the role of our experts in Africa. We have plenty of Egyptians giving their experience in many African countries, and they are very honest in their job. Also the role of the Al-Azhar Al-Sharif by hosting thousands of African students studying in Egypt,
yes,
and for gratis, they don't pay anything, and Al-Azhar is helping them even with some pocket money and so. So this another dimension. I remember I was in Yaoundé in Cameroon, in the airport, and the general administration came to me saying that I studied in Egypt, I am married to an Egyptian lady. They are proud of this sort of history. Isa Hayatou, the head of the African football organization, his brother Saad Hayatou, who was the prime minister of Cameroon, and he was a friend of us. And there is another dimension. They look to Egypt as a source to study the Islamic religion and Islamic laws. And here I am so proud that my wife was always a source to other ladies wherever we were when they want to know about Islam. Also another dimension is our Eastern Church. They have a role also in many African countries, because many African countries are following the Eastern Church.
Yes. So, sir, one final question. Could you please shed more light on the most important files Egypt is paying attention to during its current membership of the African Peace and Security Council?
We are all hit by international wars.
Yes.
What is going on between Russia and Ukraine, what is going on between the United States and its main partners. The Americans are following a very extreme policy. The wars, not the war, in our region.
Yes.
Look what is happening in Syria, the aggression against Lebanon, what's happening in Palestine. So very rare Arab countries are still standing on strong feet. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, and so on. And we are trying to help our brothers in our region in order to restore democracy and peace among all the citizens of any Arab country. Also.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for being with us, and short break.